Step away from the vehicle. Hands where I can see them.
Officer, I'm just getting gas.
That uniform, where did you get it?
I'm Master Chief Elijah Cross, Fort Benning.
Move the uniform. I am complying under protest. You're under arrest. Witnesses are recording.
Deputy Derek Calloway had been with the Fulton County Police Department for 9 years when he responded to a call that would destroy his life and send him to federal prison for 54 years. He was 36 years old, experienced enough to know better, confident enough to believe his judgment was infallible. One Friday night at a Shell station on Memorial Drive, he saw a black man in an Army uniform and decided it had to be fake. The man was Master Chief Elijah Cross, a decorated Special Forces soldier with 18 years of service, 4 combat deployments, and a Distinguished Service Cross earned for running into a kill zone 3 times to drag his teammates to safety. What Calloway did next, ignoring Cross's credentials, dismissing his military ID, and arresting a war hero in full-dress uniform, would trigger a Pentagon investigation, federal charges, a White House press briefing, and a trial that exposed 9 years of documented racial profiling that Fulton County had ignored for nearly a decade. Atlanta, October, 11:03 at night. Master Chief Elijah Cross pulls his black GMC Yukon into Pump 4 at a Shell station on Memorial Drive. He steps out. He is still wearing his Army service uniform, the formal dress worn for ceremonies. Dark green jacket, matching trousers, shoes polished to a mirror. On his chest, rows of ribbons in precise military order. At the very top, the Distinguished Service Cross, the nation's second highest honor for valor under fire. Below it, the Purple Heart, the Bronze Star with Valor device. 4 campaign medals representing 4 separate deployments to Iraq, Afghanistan, Syria, and Mali. He swipes his card at the pump. He is thinking about his father, about the peach cobbler his father always made when Elijah came home. He has been gone 11 months. He was not thinking about the police cruiser idling 2 pumps over or the officer inside it watching him. Deputy Derek Calloway had been on patrol for 6 hours. He saw a black man in a military uniform at a gas station late at night and made a decision. Not based on evidence, based on a bias so deep it felt like instinct. Calloway stepped out of his cruiser. His hand rested on his belt. He walked toward Elijah Cross with the walk of a man who had already decided the outcome. "Step away from the vehicle. Hands where I can see them." Elijah turned. He raised both hands slowly, palms out, non-threatening. The gesture of a man trained to de-escalate. "Officer, I'm just getting gas. Is there a problem?" "That uniform. Where did you get it?" Elijah stared at him. 18 years of service, 4 combat deployments, a chest full of medals representing things most people couldn't comprehend. And he was being asked where he got his uniform. "I earned it, officer. I'm Master Chief Elijah Cross, U.S. Army Special Forces. I'm returning from a memorial service at Fort Benning. I'm on authorized leave." "Stolen valor is a federal offense. I'm going to need you to remove that uniform." Stolen valor. The accusation reserved for frauds and con artists, for people who wear medals they didn't earn to impress strangers. Elijah Cross had earned his medals in places most Americans couldn't find on a map, in conditions most humans couldn't survive. "Sir, I'm not impersonating anyone. I can show you my military ID, my leave orders, my CAC card. I'm asking you to verify my credentials before this goes any further." "Anyone can print fake orders. I've seen it." Elijah reached slowly into his inner jacket pocket, making every movement deliberate and visible. He produced his common access card, the military issue identification with an embedded RFID chip, holographic security features, and a Department of Defense seal that cannot be replicated at a copy shop. "These can be faked." "Officer, this card has an RFID chip. You have a scanner in your cruiser. Run it." "I don't need to run anything. I can see what's happening here. What Calloway could see, a black man in a military uniform. What he refused to see, 18 years of service, 4 combat deployments, a chest full of medals for valor, and a military ID with security features you cannot buy on the internet. By this point, 3 customers at the gas station had pulled out their phones. A woman inside the convenience store was filming through the bulletproof glass. The station's own cameras, 4 angles, were recording everything. The footage would later be watched by the Pentagon, by federal prosecutors, by the President of the United States. Remove the uniform. That's a direct order. I will not remove my uniform at a gas station. This is my uniform. I earned it. I'm an active duty officer on authorized leave, and I'm asking you, for the last time, to make one phone call to Fort Benning and verify who I am. You're under arrest. Turn around. Elijah Cross took a slow breath. He had taken breaths like this in Iraq, in Afghanistan, in places whose names he couldn't say out loud. The breath that means, I am choosing calm over chaos. I am choosing survival over pride. He turned around. He placed his hands behind his back. I'm complying under protest. I am Master Chief Elijah Cross, U.S. Army Special Forces. This arrest is unlawful. I have committed no crime. I have shown proper identification. I have requested verification through official channels. Everything happening here is being recorded by multiple witnesses. Calloway snapped the handcuffs on. Tight. The metal pressed against Elijah's wrists, wrinkling the sleeves of the uniform he had worn to bury a friend. A man who had run into kill zones to drag his teammates to safety was being walked across a gas station parking lot in handcuffs. His polished shoes scraped across the concrete. His ribbons sat askew, his tie pulled to one side. 3 customers filmed in silence. What could they say to a man with a gun and a badge? Before we tell you what happened next, before we tell you about the phone calls that reached Washington, D.C. before midnight, or the White House press briefing the next morning, you need to understand who Derek Calloway was. Because what happened at that gas station did not happen in a vacuum. Calloway had been with the Fulton County Police Department for 9 years. In those 9 years, he had generated 12 documented complaints of racial profiling. 12. Every single one involved a person of color. Every single one followed the same pattern. A black physician jogging through a quiet neighborhood stopped, questioned, detained for 35 minutes because Calloway decided he looked like he didn't belong. The physician was 3 blocks from his own house. A Latina teenager waiting at a bus stop. Backpack searched without consent, held for 40 minutes, released without explanation. She was 17. She missed her shift at work. A black pastor walking from his church to his car on a Sunday afternoon stopped, asked to prove he wasn't trespassing, in front of his own congregation. 12 complaints, 3 written reprimands filed in a drawer, 4 mandatory training sessions that Calloway attended and did not internalize, 5 cases closed for insufficient evidence despite witness statements, 0 suspensions, 0 demotions, 0 terminations. Supervisors had written in his annual evaluations. Can benefit from additional de-escalation training. Should work on cultural sensitivity. Results-oriented but occasionally overzealous in community interactions. Occasionally overzealous. That is what the Fulton County Police Department called 9 years of documented racial profiling. That is why Derek Calloway was still on the street the night he arrested Elijah Cross. While Calloway was writing his arrest report, convinced he had caught a fraud, Elijah Cross's service record was being pulled up on screens from Fort Bragg to the Pentagon. And what those screens showed made Calloway's accusation not just wrong, it made it obscene. Elijah Cross grew up in Augusta, Georgia. He watched 3 friends from his high school die before their 22nd birthdays, 2 to gun violence, 1 to a fentanyl overdose. He enlisted in the Army the week after he graduated, desperate for a different life. He survived basic, scored high enough to qualify for Special Forces selection, the program with a dropout rate exceeding 70%. He didn't drop out. First deployment, Iraq, 2008, Fallujah, clearing buildings, night operations, the kind of work that doesn't make the news because it is too ugly and too classified. Second deployment, Afghanistan, 2011, Kandahar Province, 8 months, a casualty rate in his unit of 38%. He came home with shrapnel scars on his right forearm and a Purple Heart he never talked about. Third deployment, Syria, 2017, classified operations against ISIS leadership, missions whose details remain sealed to this day. Fourth deployment, Mali, 2021, training Allied forces while conducting counter-terrorism operations the American public was never briefed on. He was gone 11 months. His father kept the kitchen light on every night. In 2019, during a hostage rescue operation in northern Syria, Elijah's 6-man team was ambushed. RPGs, heavy machine gun fire from 3 sides. 2 teammates went down immediately. Cross, already hit by shrapnel in his shoulder, ran into the kill zone. He dragged the first teammate to cover, ran back, dragged the second. A third was hit while they were moving. He went back again. He held a defensive position alone for 11 minutes, taking fire from 3 directions, while the rest of the team evacuated the wounded. He did not leave until everyone else was out. All 6 teammates survived. For that action, Elijah Cross was awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. The citation used the words "extraordinary heroism" and complete disregard for personal safety. His commanding officer cried at the ceremony. That was the man Derek Calloway arrested at a gas station for wearing a costume. The booking sergeant on duty that night was Patricia Okafor, 22 years on the job. She thought she had seen everything. She looked up as Calloway walked Elijah Cross through the door and felt her stomach drop. The uniform was immaculate. The ribbons were in perfect precedence order. The Distinguished Service Cross sat at the top of his chest. The finish on his insignia was the weight and quality of real gold, not costume jewelry. "Calloway, what is this?" "Stolen valor. Impersonating a military officer. He refused to remove the uniform, refused lawful orders." Okafor examined the common access card. Hologram intact. RFID chip visible. Department of Defense seal embossed. Photo matched the man standing in front of her. "This looks real, Calloway." "Anyone can print those." Okafor picked up her desk phone. "Fort Bragg. Ask for the Special Forces Command Duty Officer. My unit is 3rd Special Forces Group. My commanding officer is Captain Harold Sims." The call lasted 90 seconds. When Okafor put the phone down, her face had gone completely white. "He's real, Calloway. He's 3rd Group. He's active duty. He is exactly who he says he is." The ID could still be... "Derek, stop! Stop talking!" Within 6 minutes of that phone call, Army Criminal Investigation Division had been notified. CID notified Army Special Operations Command. USASOC has a direct line to the Pentagon for situations involving Special Forces personnel. By 12:20 in the morning, the duty officer at the Pentagon's Army Operations Center had been briefed. Army JAG attorneys at Fort Bragg were activated within the hour. By 1:15 a.m., the Fulton County Chief of Police was on the phone with an Army 2-star general, being told in very precise language that his department had committed multiple federal felonies against an active-duty Special Forces officer. Elijah Cross was released at 1:47 in the morning. His uniform was wrinkled. His wrists bore the marks of the handcuffs. His dignity, however, was entirely intact. "Master Chief Cross, I cannot express how deeply..." "Chief, save it. My father is waiting for me. I'm going to go see him now, and then I'm going to let the Army handle what comes next." By 6 o'clock the next morning, the gas station footage had been obtained by a local Atlanta news station. It aired on the 6 a.m. broadcast. By 7 a.m., it had been picked up nationally. By 8 a.m., 12 million views. By 9 a.m., it was on the desk of the President of the United States. No one expected what happened at the White House press briefing that morning. The press secretary was midway through a routine statement on trade policy when the back door opened and President Trump walked in. The room went immediately silent. He did not use notes. I want to talk about something. Everybody's seen the video by now. Master Chief Cross, great soldier, incredible record, one of the best, gets stopped at a gas station, in his uniform, medals on his chest, and some officer decides he's a fraud. Doesn't make a call, doesn't verify, just decides. And I want to say something very clearly. That's not going to stand. Not in this country. Not with me as president. Mr. President, have you spoken with Master Chief Cross? I spoke with him this morning. Good man. Tough man. He told me what happened, and frankly, it's disgraceful. I've asked the Attorney General to look at this. We're talking about federal charges. We're talking about civil rights violations. And the officer involved, I've been briefed on his record. 12 complaints. Every single one a person of color. That's not a mistake. That's a pattern. And it's going to be treated as one. Sir, do you think race played a role in what happened? You have a man wearing the Distinguished Service Cross on his chest. You have a military ID card you can verify in 30 seconds. You choose not to verify. You see a black man in a uniform that your bias tells you can't be real, and you act on that bias. Yes, I think race played a role. I don't think there's another explanation, and Master Chief Cross deserves better. Every soldier who ever put on that uniform deserves better. Those words, broadcast live, clipped and reshared before the briefing was even over, changed everything. By the time the press briefing ended, federal prosecutors in Atlanta had already been on the phone with the Department of Justice for 40 minutes. The Fulton County Police Department placed Calloway on immediate administrative leave at 11:30 that morning, less than 45 minutes after the president's words aired. The union filed for a stay. It was denied. The federal indictment came 6 weeks after the arrest. Deputy Derek Calloway was charged with deprivation of rights under color of law, false imprisonment of a military service member, and civil rights conspiracy. The prosecution's case was extraordinary in its completeness. 4 civilian phones, 4 gas station camera angles, a booking sergeant willing to testify that she told Calloway his own identification was real, and he ignored her. A 12-complaint internal record the department had buried for 9 years, and the President of the United States on camera calling the incident racially motivated. The jury deliberated for 4 hours. In federal cases involving law enforcement, 4 hours is almost nothing. It means the jury was not conflicted. Guilty on all counts. At sentencing, Federal Judge Diane Ashworth spoke for 11 minutes. She noted the documented pattern of complaints. She noted Calloway's refusal to verify credentials despite multiple opportunities. She noted the particular cruelty of arresting a man in a dress uniform worn to honor a fallen comrade. She sentenced Derek Calloway to 54 years in federal prison. The courtroom was silent for a moment. Then someone in the gallery exhaled. Elijah Cross stood on the courthouse steps. No prepared remarks. Shoulders back, chin up. The posture of someone who has been through worse than this and came home. I want to say something to every soldier, every sailor, every Marine, every airman who has served this country and then come home to be told by someone with a badge that you don't look like who you are. Your service is real. Your sacrifice is real. Your uniform is real. And you deserve to walk through your own country without having to prove it to someone whose bias is stronger than his duty. And I want to say something to my father, who kept the light on for 11 months. I'm coming home, Pop. I'll be there for dinner. He walked down the courthouse steps. His father was waiting at the bottom. Derek Calloway entered the federal correctional system at age 37. His earliest possible release date, accounting for good behavior, is 2061. He will be 81 years old. Elijah Cross returned to active duty 8 weeks after the trial. He was promoted to sergeant major. He continues to serve. He visits his father every time he's home. The kitchen light is always on.